Board meeting to order today, October 15th, 7 p.m. Mr. Ashland, would you lead us in the pledge of the flag, please? Oh, God, they hit it on us. Didn't realize it.
Or I can just hold it, and then I'll just put it back there.
The color guard. And to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. All right, call the meeting to order. First on the agenda is the approval of the October 1st board meeting minutes. Need a motion to bring this to the floor?
So moved. Second.
Any questions or conversation? Okay, call for a vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Next on the agenda is, this is for audit services for the USDA Northern Border Region Commission. It is basically a practice that the state follows. We have to have an audit. And so that is essentially, we're putting that out to bid. The audit, I believe, is what we budgeted for is in and around $30,000. Need a
Can I just
yes, ma'am.
remind everyone, we did this at the last meeting,
Right.
and there was some confusion and miscommunication as to who was going to put this out.
Got it.
So that's why we're redoing that. So we have new dates, everything is all set,
Okay.
and this will go out in the newspaper for bid.
Okay.
Old Town.
Town.
This
Yeah.
is for the sewer.
This is for
Project,
the.
right?
So before we go into the sewer, they're actually going to conduct an audit. They're going to go through.
Mhm.
Yes, yeah, the sewer, correct. It is, well, so yes, the Northern Border, this is their prerequisite before we move forward. Okay. No, Chris, that's a darn good question. I said, that's a darn good question. I don't believe so, but again, that's,
This will be billed to the sewer district though.
I believe eventually
When
billed
we
to the
establish
sewer
a district.
district, but now,
Okay.
but right now, no,
All right.
it's, yep. But it will end up, I think, like, we will be reimbursed by the sewer district once the sewer district is. I don't believe so. Was it Jim? Does that sound familiar?
I wasn't on the board.
Yeah, not on the board either. So, yep.
Correct. 2-year audit.
Need a motion?
Controller.
That was a controller came in from the state. No, this is going to be a private CPA firm that's going to be doing this. I believe that is correct.
This is specific to
An
a
independent
project, to
audit.
the bond. bill.
Not
For
a
the-
controller's office on an independent audit.
This is the first time a CPA firm, to the best of our knowledge, a CPA, not, okay, it's not because Danae and Danae's. When was this? Okay. Because in talking with Danae, she didn't seem to think that had taken place before. Okay. All right. need,
You got it. Move.
all right, motion, bring it to the floor.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, this next one is the resolution of unequivocal support for Barton Mines permit application without restriction or any further delay. Whereas Barton Mine Corporation, a local business that mines and processes garnet for commercial and industrial use, is seeking approval from New York State Department of Environmental Conservation and to the extent of the life and extend the life of its operations. Whereas Barton Mine has continually operated its Ruby Mountain site in the town of Johnsburg since 1983. And whereas the effective life of the mine will end in a few years without modification requested by Barton Mine. Whereas the mining and processing would occur entirely on Barton Mine property at the existing Ruby Mountain site. Whereas Barton Mine is an important employer in the southeast region of the Adirondack Park. Whereas Barton Mine spends approximately $8 million for wages, benefits, and their 100 employees, and spends approximately $7 million to other businesses to support Barton Mine. Whereas Barton Mine provides over 100 good-paying jobs. Whereas Barton Mine is not only a major employer and taxpayer, but also an active in its support of the community. Need a motion to bring this to the floor, please.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion or conversation? Call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. So this is a resolution to rescind the initial $100,000 that was set up for engineering for the park. It was in conversations with Danae. She had reached out and spoke to our attorneys. A capital project fund should have been set up for this project. This money will basically go back to fund balance. So we are basically rescinding it and moving it back to fund balance. Well, it was always in fund balance, but earmarked. I need a motion to bring this to the floor.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or conversation?
Yeah, I would say that this is more of a technical resolution as compared to a lack of support for the Vision 2024. We're not, I don't think, in a position to start closing down the mine, the pit at this point. There's still a couple of years left on that. This money was set aside for that initial engineering of that. We're not ready to move forward at this time. If we do the engineering now, and we don't move on to construction, then we're gonna have to redo the engineering again at a later date when we are ready. So this is not a resolution rejecting the Vision 2040. I fully support making park improvements and bringing parts of that vision to fruition.
Okay. Call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, resolution to rescind. This was the $150,000 was set aside again in Danae's conversations with our attorneys, appropriating reserve funds to third-party contract to perform town assessment. Basically, we are going to move this back. Well, it's been in fund balance, earmarked. We are going to amend the resolution, rescind this resolution, amend, and then look to, which would be number 8. So I need a motion to bring this to the floor.
So moved.
Second.
Okay? Any
So, yeah.
Go ahead.
So before we move forward, I completely understand that we have to do a reval, that we're at 78%. But when I got the agenda on Friday and I looked that we were moving this to a resolution, I got to thinking about how we're giving a very short notice to our community to have a conversation about the reval. before we move to a vote. And there's something about that that I'm a little uncomfortable with. And so even before we move forward to rescinding this, I don't even feel comfortable doing that before we open it up to a conversation with our community about what we're voting on, what we're making a decision on tonight about a reval, because I certainly remember what the reval was like a few years ago. And, you know, we're being asked tonight to make a really hard decision. And I don't think there's any good answer. But as I spent time thinking this weekend, you know, we're going to be asked tonight to say yes or no to $91,000 of taxpayer money, which again has been earmarked. So I know it's not new money, but it's still taxpayer money. And it's for data that a few years ago people didn't like. And now we're going to be using that data again. And I can't make that decision without having a conversation with the community. It does not sit right with me. And I don't think we're giving people enough of an open space to have that conversation. And certainly even doing this, I don't feel comfortable doing it without having a conversation with the community, opening it up. And that's where I stand before moving forward.
Whereas legal counsel has reviewed resolution 23-210 and determined that it was not legally established. That's what we're voting on right
yeah.
now. That's what the conversation is. The next item is a conversation on a reevaluation.
Yeah.
So to clear up the legal confusion, we need to rescind the resolution. So let's focus on that first,
Sure.
and then we can move on.
Do we move to rescind? Bring it to the floor, yes or no?
It's
Okay,
on the
sorry.
floor.
Okay. Call for a vote. Any other conversation before we call for a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now, on to this. The resolution to contract with KLW Municipal for 2025 reval. So we have had conversations, the board, I've had conversations with everybody on the board about this. Obviously, in conversations, it's basically, we're at 78% of our equalization rate. We are losing both sales tax and OC tax. We're also losing money as far as state land is concerned. And Danae has basically said to me, she figures right now, we have lost probably somewhere close to $100,000 in state land monies. $100,000 for this town is not a small nut. And this needs to be brought back up to 100. I've had conversations with other folks in the community who do real estate. Their suggestion is that once we get it to 100, we work on a plan, which he referred to as a maintenance plan. So we stay at 100 or close to 100, so we don't ever lose out on this. We don't lose money like we've lost so far. I need a motion to bring this to the floor, please.
Motion?
Second.
Further discussion.
I'd like to address this. For one, it is a difficult decision. And the fact that we are losing money on it kind of pushes this to the front. We should be taking care of this sooner rather than later. We don't want to have anybody not know about it. The object here will be to keep people from being in the dark, make very well sure that everyone's aware why. And these costs, again, if you're talking about the losses we've had so far, really, that negates the cost of this reval at this point. Using the existing data, besides saving us money, I mean, we've already gone through the trouble of getting this data. I don't see any reason that can't be used and just verified by this KLW municipal to make sure that everything's correct and bring it to current. verified data. There's gonna be a certain percentage of parcels that are gonna be hand checked.
Can, Chris and folks, can we just keep it to the board for a few minutes and then we'll allow other comments from the,
The fact
Okay.
that we're losing money at this, really, to me, again, is the main thing, that we bring this back up. Well, hiring an outside contractor to verify the data that we have by a handful of particular parcels, I don't know whether it's random or how it's picked or whatever, to
Right.
verify the accuracy of existing data. If that is correct, then they will use that to bring our equalization rate back up to 100%.
Yeah, I would like Anna to, I know I interrupted
No,
for the other part of the resolution, but I'd like you to fully, if you have any more to add.
no, I
To the
mean, I think
conversation.
that, I think my biggest thing is, the data wasn't, that was such a source of contention. And now we are going to pay $91,000 to use the same data that was a source of contention. Also, good on anybody who did any work between then and now, because that's not going to be counted in this reval. Correct?
It should
It will
show
be if
anything with
they'll
with
go
a
through building
permit or
permits.
whatever,
Mhm.
CMO.
But they won't be going to houses and doing,
can we
No, but
just,
we're-
but
we're
Pat,
having
Pat,
this-
please, let the board finish
but
this
that
conversation.
that would be correct. So if they're using the old data and you have done any work between then and now on your house, that wouldn't come up in this reevaluation.
It wouldn't be addressed by the county, the fact that there's been a building permit and that has
Yes.
been updated.
Yes,
I
it
believe
would.
that will update that data.
Yeah, so
Regardless.
So it would
anyone that
update
got
it
a
through-
building permit
Right.
and did work, that data will get updated.
Well,
Guys,
that's
please,
kind of-
wait, guys, please. I don't want to be rude here. This is a board discussion first. And then we can have people weigh in, please. Just let us finish this conversation, okay?
And then after that, the data still has to be checked off and verified by Letitia. She has to still sign off on any work done by the outside,
correct.
correct?
So, and I
And
did it,
that gives her the, excuse me.
it's okay, go ahead.
That gives her the opportunity to verify that, because she's the one, again, if she's got to sign off on it, she wants to make sure that if she's putting her name on it, that it's correct.
So why are we,
Because,
Isolate her from some of the bad that happened last time, perhaps, if
Have we-
nothing else.
so,
I mean, it gives, you can say, look at it this way. We can say, no, that wasn't her. That was somebody we hired from outside that did that. She doesn't have to take the heat for this in the same direct manner as before. Pardon? No, please.
So
we'll keep it, keep it
For
to,
2 years, I sat here at this table, either in that room in there or this auditorium here, filled with people. Some people coming up, standing on the other side of this table, screaming, yelling, cursing me for the work that our town board was doing at that time. Saying that the single biggest fault that they had with the entire reval was the incorrect, the flawed data that had been collected. Now, a year later, we're gonna turn around and say, oh, wait a minute, that data was okay. We're gonna have it verified by a company coming in here, selecting at random 20 different places, is what number I have been told. And 20 places out of 3,000 parcels does not sound like a very, very good verification to me. I'm not a computer expert, but this much I do know. If you put junk in, you get junk out. And if you are using flawed data to base your reval on, then you are going to get another flawed reval back. And I'm just wondering where the hordes of people are that were having such a time about the flawed data that had been collected the last time. For myself, I will not support $91,000 going out for this.
So who collected the data last time? That's flawed.
2 people.
Okay, are we gonna use those same 2 people to collect data this time? If we don't go through with the KLW? because they're gonna end up with flawed data again, if that's the case. If you use the same people, you use the same process,
Well,
you're gonna,
We've got other proposals that are included. They're much more expensive, $385,000 if I recall, or
Mhm.
$125,000 for them to go out and do a little bit of collection. So where do we stand? Do we have solid faith? Do we have confidence in the data that has been collected up to this point in time? I would like to hear some of the people say that, oh yes, that was okay.
from my point it was, but I have no axe to grind. I always thought that I was taxed on the high side and I had a minimal increase of that. So I had no axe to grind. I understood and was listening to people about it, but from my point, I can't really say that I found the data flawed. I always thought, like I said, so the percentage that mine went up was minimal.
Not yet, not yet. Just,
So, I mean, I guess to Arnold's point, if the point is that the data is flawed, then why are we using it for 91,000? And if the data isn't flawed, have we talked to Letitia?
we have,
Does she want to do it?
no. She does not. I had a conversation with Ms. Williams this morning, and interestingly enough, during that conversation, I asked her how she felt about this, and she is quite comfortable with the idea of using this company and spending $91,000 on this reevaluation. I also asked, and with her permission, was allowed, I said, if it's okay with you, I'm going to share this. I said, how many people came to you and were really angry and on the nasty side? And she said, about 20. So, and I can tell you that Carol and I met with her, and although we'd never been through anything like this before, we sat with her, we chatted, and we pretty much walked away. I'm like, okay, all right. We really didn't say much other than that.
Yeah. It's a multifaceted issue that we're discussing right now. And there's a lot of emotion, obviously, from the last time we went through an evaluation. And that still lingers today. I'm going to look at it from a problem-solving standpoint. If we are at 78% in Warren County distributes sales tax based off of total assessed value, and we're at 78% of our fair market value, you take the 22% and you multiply it by the 900 we get, and we're missing out on roughly $198,000 a year in sales tax revenue alone. Add in the state land value, add in the occupancy tax that doesn't go to offset our budget, but goes to promote our area, and we're losing out quite a bit. The other fact is that being at 100% helps improve our bond rating. We're taking bonds out for a sewer, we've taken a bond out for the water. That's going to translate to a higher interest rate. This is information that I got from the individual at KLW who I talked to today. Options that are not available any longer, because this proposal was put together in 2023. Options that aren't available for the next tax year, which would be March 1st of 2025, at least by this company timeframe, is the 385, which would include data collection of all improved properties and valuation completed of all the properties. I asked him what inventory verification was. It was another option for $120,000. And he explained that inventory verification was observing each property that's been improved, not vacant land, from public roadways. as well as using Warren County overhead satellite imagery. That was for 120,000. The valuation of all properties based on previously collected inventory March 1st is the one that we're kind of considering now. And I expressed the concern of data. I had had a previous conversation with Letitia, and I asked her, how many homes have been built since the last reevaluation in which no building permit was taken, in her estimation? And she said, oh God, there's none. So she's confident that we have all the homes that have been built since the last reevaluation. Asked, how many garages, how many decks, how many structures do you think have been put up that might not have gotten a permit and we're not getting our tax revenue from? And she said, there might be 25 or 30 structures that have gone up in that time. And I asked her, the gain in income of those taxable properties, how does that compare to the cost of doing all brand new data collection? I said, would we offset it? And she said, no, you wouldn't get even close to offsetting by adding those new properties. So the idea of going out and playing catch ya and I gotcha, I don't think is in our best interest from a financial standpoint. The concern that I have is that people might feel as though their data is wrong. And I asked if there's a mechanism in order for the onus to be placed on the individuals that feel that their data is wrong in giving them the opportunity to correct it. And as I looked through the options to the quote, there were a couple of options. One was residential data verification mailer, where they will mail out the data that we have on record, and individuals can correct that, and then they can verify that those corrections are accurate. That assures that anyone out there that might not think the data is accurate has the opportunity to correct it. We go with the data that was collected, of which there might have been mistakes. And people had the option to have an informal meeting. They sat with the assessor, had an informal meeting. Then they were able to then go to grievance. And if they wanted, they could take that and go a step further. So the data that was originally collected has already changed through those processes. This company will be conducting the informal meetings. It won't be our assessor. So they'll be able to sit, people will have the opportunity to verify their structure and say, I tore that barn down, or it was a chicken coop. It wasn't a kid's playhouse. They can verify that, and if they choose not to, or to partake on that's on them. We get a reevaluation done, we get back to 100%, and then we move forward. The points of contention in the past were what I believe the town setting the assessor up for failure last time by taking on such a large project that hadn't been done in such a long period of time. We remove her. She now verifies what the company does. The company has the informal meetings. She collects all of the information that is given to her by the company, and then she signs off on it, and she doesn't have to be the interface with the public and have the contentiousness. That's setting her up for success. The other side of it is, it's not a matter of using her data. Why are we hiring another outside company? She's clearly stated she wants to sit this one out. So we're left with the choice of doing this or doing nothing and letting it slide and push down the road. And the next thing you know, it's another 50 years before it's done again.
So I just have a follow-up question. You said there were only 20 people that came to her? There
Yeah, that's what she told, she, approximately 20
So there
people
were only 20 people that were approximately,
that came to her and were angry and, yeah, not
but she
pleasant.
still wants to sit this out. Okay,
Yes.
so that doesn't really add up to me.
Well,
I'm just saying that, you know, that it feels like there was a lot more than that. So, and
I'm saying nasty, people that were nasty to her. I asked her who treated you poorly.
and so, Jim, were you happy with the data that you got when you first got it?
No, I went to the informal meeting and said, I don't have a chalet, I got a Cape Cod,
And so,
and it was changed.
based on that, you were comfortable with this process of what you're going to get out of it through this new one.
Through the new one, I wish I had more time to have had the conversations with the individual that was doing it. My understanding is that we're already well behind. My other understanding is that we have a window where we can use previous data, and that window closes,
Very short.
and our bill goes from 91,000 to 380,000 next year. So the fiscal conservative in me says, spend the money now, give people who might have a difficult time with their data the opportunity to correct it. We're not going to go play I gotcha. You know, put in a stone patio and you didn't report it, and now we're gonna, you know.
No, I get what I got you. Yeah. So do you want to open it up to the?
So the basics of it are that you're setting at 78%.
Yep.
In order to bring that up to 100%, there would be 8 factors that the 78% would be multiplied by.
I don't,
78%
Yeah.
times another percentage would bring that up to 100.
Yep.
I do not know what that percentage is. But if that just goes across the board, I don't see why we pay somebody $91,000 to go down through and just multiply, bring a multiplier into it and
because
go across that way.
they're gonna base it off of recent sales. Like, that's what a reevaluation is. So they'll be basing this off of, they'll take house class on a Cape Cod, compare it to other Cape Cods within the neighborhood, and crunch all the numbers
But now what you're
over a
talking-
new recent sale sample.
But now what you're talking about is something more than what they are offering at 91,000.
No, that's what they're going to do.
For
Valuation of,
every single parcel.
yes. Minus vacant land. Minus vacant land.
But based on the previous data that was collected, based on no
Right.
new data.
So data being house type,
No,
Square-
yeah.
yeah. they're gonna be doing all of that number crunching.
Candace, did you have a question?
Go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just wanted to get this through. Yeah, I mean, I just want to let our board to have their say and then I'll obviously allow the rest of the public to weigh in.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Board of Assessment Review. They did a wonderful job with honesty, integrity, and uphold New York State law during that process. Important. During 2002, there's 3,572 parcels in the town of Chelmsford. I'm sorry, 2022. 2,572 parcels within the town of Chelmsford. The numbers probably fluctuated a little bit, but pretty close to that now. I mean, out of that, we have 88 grievances. That is 2.4%. That's a low number. Put that number around, 97% of people that must have approved of what was happening because they didn't want to do that. Out of the 88 grievances, there was 9 people that went to small claims court, small court. Out of those 9 people, 6 mediators ruled in favor of the town for 6. 1 was thrown out because it didn't meet the qualifications. And 3 were favored in their favor. My calculator doesn't use decimal point off that far, but that's what we consistently. At that time, New York State sanctioned the board, the assessor's role. In order for them to sanction it, you have to be between 95 and 100% accurate. So that's the New York State sanctioning role, and that happened during that time. You must be prepared. So we went from 100% in 2022, and here we are in 2024, and we're actually at 78.6%. From the state. So we are falling back, as you know, but be prepared, like you just said, this is not a one-shot deal. This is something that you continuously have to keep up. The follow-through is never done. I honestly don't know why the follow-through is never done. I think if you go to Newcomb, you'll find out Newcomb is done faithfully every 2 years.
And then
And
my,
Minerva.
and Minerva. And again, part of that too was just the fact that in my conversations with Letitia, that is exactly the way we would propose to do this. So, Candace, did you have anything else? We've got a few other people raising hands. Before I move on. I've got the contract. I'm not recalling off the
One
top
more
of my
year.
head.
Has anybody ever had a conversation with extend the contract? That's a lot of work for 1 year. If it comes back to this one, I don't know.
Well, she's also working for 3 other towns.
Which is common for
Yeah, but
assessors.
what's that? No, I'm just saying, I mean, I don't know whether she,
Which is common for assessors because they work, there's limited numbers of assessors in this.
I'm
that are
just, no,
qualified,
it's just
yeah.
more the fact that with 4 other contracts, or 3 other contracts, excuse me. Okay. Dina?
Yeah. If we take that option up, and the only way I'll support this is if we do take that option up. Yep.
And then the other thing is, if we know we're at 78%, and we think our data is pretty good, why don't we just figure the percentage we need and get it to 100? And I don't know. I'm just asking. You know what I'm saying? Just across the board, raise everybody whatever percentage it is to bring the property value.
You have to do the reval. Dina, if it were that simple, I think a lot of towns would probably take the easy way out. So, Chris,
I also said I'm for assessment review and I'll tell you, and it was led by some people in here. There was real attacks going on the assessor and the people and made up a lot of things were not true that were said. There were false laws that were quoted that weren't no laws. There were lawsuits that were gonna happen and you had to revert. That did not happen. The whole idea of the assessment is to be fair value.
Mhm.
And I think we need to do it. When I heard about the $91,000, $95,000 for an audit, basically New York State does it. I have a problem with New York State's audit. They selected like 10 residential, 10 businesses. Maybe we could talk to New York State and ask them, come on in and audit the assessment. And maybe you can get that done for free, but you're talking fiscal responsibility, $91,000 for a company to come in and do an audit and then put a value on it and maybe hold a few meetings with people is very expensive. And you don't know what you're gonna get.
Patrick. The data collector that, no, you do not.
So my comment is, I read the prospectus they said, and a big piece of it, a piece that I thought was kind of maybe need to look at further, on that one too, right, so, they don't look at, there's tables within the system, the property, those property classified, and there's tables that generate receipts. The one we never really looked at, and was able to look at, was the table. And if we read the prospectus that they put together, they talk about the tables a lot. And one thing I feel we get from this firm is we're experts in the tax system. Right? So the entire state, you know, uses the same tax. Right? So you have to really know how the system works because the system doesn't look at every field you put in is not what that determines the value of the property. So you kind of have to know what fields are required, that we look at, and these are fields that are informational, that don't generate any other calculation. And so that's what we look at from this firm, I think. I would like to maybe meet this firm and have them do a demo for us. Because they talk about, you know, work efficient and tax system. They're going to do a lot of Excel also. And besides that, and they say they create their own valuation. And yeah, no, that's what, I mean, the teacher is right to do it, says these people are using this system. And I think it's beneficial, but I'm concerned about, they have a list of data that they require. As the teacher of this list requires, that this can be provided data.
I believe that answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
maps and stuff like that. to look into.
Yeah. Yep. Arthur first and then Bruce.
Couple clarifying questions. Number one, what is the role of the assessor in this audit?
I believe it's sign off on the actual, the actual reassessment and the valuation of the,
And any questions that happen, you know, that still goes to assessor.
yes.
Yeah.
She can either
Yeah. She has to sign off on it and go through everything.
I'm just saying, the process may seem changed a few years ago, it's still the same process. The assessor has to approve any concerns from the still have to go to the assessor or go to the board. Very cool. Okay, the same question. The questions Arnold asked, I think the board has an obligation to provide some kind of assessment or estimate of what the percentage increase for the tax base which would be required in its impact on taxpayers if indeed it gets to 100%. We're kind of, this is vacuum for distribution. It's quite serious in terms of knowing what the impact will be. Those are an obligation to provide there's some other questions. Is there verification or validation? Those are two specifically different approaches. Verification is
Verification. Verification.
verification.
But
Yeah.
it doesn't, it still may be that we have to balance, because at least in my assessment, I'm at all 3,500 properties. It was impossible to explain the differences, the variation across the board. It was not predictable. If I put in the same elements, it was impossible to predict what the factor taxes would be on a very similar type home. Then it went back to sales. Couldn't find the comparable sales.
Well, it's,
Those are some factors. What I don't know is in this new, or this, everybody's consultant, is how far, how deep we're going to go into really assessing the value of property, other than putting.
well, what I asked them to do was take, and this is just what I asked. We haven't gotten into the nitty gritty, but basically to take 20 random properties and just, were they accurate?
Statistically, that's not how it's done, quite honestly. But without debating this.
They're gonna, they're gonna go to my data information that I have. And they're gonna look at my house and they're gonna compare it to comparable sales of a similar house and come up with a value. Then they're gonna go to my neighbors who might have a different style house, but in the same neighborhood, compare it to similar sales. There are neighborhood maps that you compare within that neighborhood, so that my house, if say I'm in Baker's Mills, I'm not getting compared to North River, which is a different neighborhood. So North River, capes will be compared to North River capes that have been sold. And Baker's Mills capes will get compared to Baker's Mills capes, so that there's a reflection of that. So they're going to go through every single property that has an improvement on it and run those numbers. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Hang on, guys, hang on. I think one of the,
That's what,
but I think probably one of the biggest problems we have with even the most recent assessment is drive around. This isn't suburbia, folks. There isn't cookie cutter homes here. This is unique. Amy's my neighbor and Johnny's my neighbor, and all three of us have very different homes. And if you drive up and down Barton Mine, I don't think you'd find another, you might find a cape, but it's probably not like my cape. It's not like Jim's cape. That's the uniqueness of the Adirondacks. That I think probably was part and parcel why we had so much trouble the last time around.
I agree, I don't know what you, set up the trade. The Adirondacks are one of the hardest, if you're not comparing to a city where the cookie cutter houses, on a quarter acre lot, you can go down the line, with 800 of them sold in a week, that's exact number. That's not how Adirondacks are in that world. So, and we had to have a reval 76 years, so it was utterly ludicrous to give this little woman who's very experienced, that went to a couple state classes and said, I am now the appraiser.
Assessor.
So it was utterly ludicrous. When she handed me my taxes, for her evaluation went down $106,000 without getting a lawyer. She's handing me a piece of paper, telling me she likes the color of my house in the wooden siding. And I said, I live in a modular. She goes, no, you don't. It has wooden siding. The piece of paper she's handing me in the top right corner said, manufactured housing. I turned it, I pointed it to her. That's not a confidence builder for me. I'm surprised you're upset because you told me you had the utmost confidence in this information. Did she lower it? $106,000. The people that were under to begin with said you only had 86 complaints. They didn't complain.
88.
But the people that were under evaluated didn't come to the wall. You didn't charge a lot of them. Well, not very many valued at $189,000. Great, but, so I did neighborhood thing. I went to Butch Bateman, my neighbor, has a bigger, better barn. I went to Roger Mosier, not Roger, Billy Mosier, has a much bigger, better barn. And I went to Denise County, and I got that information. And none of them were even similar. My barn was 3 times the money that those bigger, better barns were. So I know the information is not correct. A lot of people didn't complain, but it's still today, I had 106,000 taken out, and I'm happy with it, I feel I'm close to where I should be. But I can tell you right now, it's still not exact. And that's why the Morrison, the house at the foot of Garnet Lake Road, it's a small house, it's got a paved garage, paved driveway, a 2-car garage. That's only valued at $150,000. Someone walked me. It's at the foot of Gore Mountain. There, I don't think we're done.
Kelly, can I, I'm
I would
just,
not be happy with 25.
well, just,
Take 10% and then verify.
Kelly, hang on one second. Amy, go ahead.
What happens if the property that that
What if the property's Letitia, whatever, what if the,
the property's that what if they can't agree? What if the company's totally different?
She gets 5%.
should,
These are all wrong. The data's wrong, everything's wrong. What do you do next?
hang on, Patrick. Amy, good question. Kelly, go ahead. I don't, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I would like to take issue with that, this was called Letice's effort related. It may be failure in this month, but I do think that her numbers support that it was not a failure. I also remember the state person standing up and saying that she hit 96%. And anybody coming in between 95 and 100, that's terrific. I really think.
I said she
Everybody
was
makes mistakes. Anyway, so,
All right.
you know, the woman actually did a good job. I mean, I really.
I said she
the man
was set
did
up
better,
for
but the
failure.
woman did it.
All right, guys, hang on. All right, wait. All right, here, I think,
So let's go back to, again, we have one of 2 options. We're at 78%. We can lose out on over $250,000, $300,000. We can spend 91 plus some extra for some mailers and get some of that income back and get back to 100%. The assessor has said she doesn't want to do it. That, I believe, would be setting her up for failure. You're going to tell someone who has said she doesn't want to do it, she wants a third party to do it, and now you're forcing her to do it. That's setting her up for failure.
I think we have unanswered questions.
We could possibly ask the consulting firm to just, you know, to just give them a set of our data. We can sign an NDA. They can look at our data real quick and tell us what do they think they can do. Maybe they'll come back and say, oh, it's really obvious it's wrong, and here it is. One question is, right, why did New York State go down $2 million? Section 7 land went down, and all the homeowners picked up that difference. As you recall, it went up 1.8% in taxes, correct? It did. It was a shift for 2 million. The 2 million went to New York State Section 7 land, got a reduction, and all of the homeowners picked up the $2 million. have them look at the data quick and see if they can fix New York State Section 7. Yeah, yeah, but they fix that though, they fix that, they fix the schools, run schools, yeah, they fix all that, but they don't fix that. They did, but now it's that. But if they could do that and look at, right, it's all data, he's got cumulative data all day long, all they do. They can look at this file, I give them a couple hours, and they can come back and they can tell you what they were supposed to tell me.
All of what I said,
So then
I
I
did
think enough.
agree a lot with, Jim. You know, the key rock and hard part. When the town came to the board and said, this data has been flawed, if we can look at it again, we wouldn't sit here having this debate. We had a proposal to have 5% looked at by this company. That then to verify it, we all shut up. It was a vote. The board voted no. That will accomplish now at the end of the day.
It's okay.
But
So-
we're here now. We're here.
Right, I want to move forward, guys. All right, let's move forward.
So I am going, being conservative too, spending $385,000 or whatever it is for a full valve and waiting another year, losing another 185, so that's over $500,000. We're not gonna have an end result. The end result is our property values are still going up. And if you guys do your job and spend the least amount of money as possible and maintain the species down, our values can go up, our taxes go down.
So what happened in Warrensburg, they just completed their reevaluation. And if you look at the Sun Community News just yesterday or today, you'll see that their tax rate on many different budget lines dropped dramatically because of that.
So I
So,
would urge anybody that has a problem like the state to go, but as long as this outfit looks at it, I would agree to do it without the $91 being spent and having them look at their sheets, do the evaluation. I would like the 20 copies to be at least 30 or 40 they check, but whatever. I would.
The way, I mean,
I still say proceed ahead.
the way I'm looking at it, guys, honestly, is this. If we've already lost, if we're losing $198,000 from sales tax alone, we spend 91, we're still 107 to the good. That's $107,000. So we don't, that's a big nut for this town. It's a big nut. Two more questions, and I really do want to get moving on, okay? Candace, yes? Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
it's cheaper. Small things are cheaper.
Okay.
Agreed.
Mhm. Last one, Kelly.
It perhaps might be wise to look at that second option. Not the cheapest one, but the one that we spoke of, the 120, that's not quite, it's a little bit more comprehensive. And a little bit more the concept of some of the questions that are here. So, you know, it's still not the full Monty of 300 plus, but, you know, it might be better.
Yeah, it's an inventory verification of all improved properties in valuations completed of all properties. So what that is they're not going with their tape measure and measuring every house. They're not walking the properties as happened last time. They're going with the data and they're verifying the data through a visit to each property from the road, as well as aerial on the ones that you can't get to or see from the road, aerial photography that the county updates every 2 years.
The homeowner.
So if I may, I did call, because I really do want to put this, finish. Okay, so I did call Letitia this afternoon, and I asked her about the difference between the $91,000 and $120,000, because I wanted her insight. Given the size of our municipality and the time frame, the $91,000 option will get us to 100% in 2025 and all the benefits that go with it. Those were her comments. One last comment, Bruce, and we're done.
So then keep it current. How do most towns do that? So we don't.
It's every 2 years. It's every 2 years. It's every two.
2 years, what, we spend the 90.
I,
You, usually you have your town assessor would do it, like, that's why Minerva is up, because Letitia does it for them, she's their town assessor, so that's why they're at 100.
He just doesn't want to do this time because of the.
Yes.
all the-
Because of how
The work that's required in Warren County to do a reevaluation and the work that's required in Essex County are two different things. In Essex County, the actual county does the reevaluation with the help of the assessor. Here in Warren County, it's all on her. So there's a lot more work in doing a reevaluation in Warren County on that assessor's plate than in Essex County.
So, to that point, in 2 years from now, if the teacher doesn't want to do it, then we're always going to pay the 91,000. Or whatever it is.
Bruce, I want to get through tonight and get this done. No offense, but understand, right now, you're looking 2 years down the road. I'm looking to get our equalization rate back to 100. I don't know. That won't be up to me. Will it?
I just have one quick question, and it's not controversial, I just want to know, if Letitia did do the extra work, she gets paid for that, right? So there would be a cost there outside of
No,
the normal job.
no, she is obligated actually to do a project during her tenure as, in her appointment. So an assessment would be part of her job, and she could do it throughout the year as she was working. There's a way to do it throughout the year as you're working. Yeah, which is especially if you're up to 100%. Once you're up to 100% and you're keeping it as you go along, it's not the full process that it would have been like when you were doing it starting from zero. Yeah. So,
Correct. Yep.
but once you're in it, you're obligated, and the truth is, it's not up to the board. It's not up to us, you know, she has a project that she's supposed to do as an assessor when she is appointed to that job by the county, by the state.
Okay. Now, for our board, I'm going to pose two questions. One, do you want to move forward with the resolution as is with $91,000? And I think there was another 3 plus with the mailer, about $3,000, which would get us to 94. Yes or no?
Yes.
No,
No.
Yes.
All right. What about the option of $120,000 if we changed it to 120?
I would still go with it, but I don't believe, based on what the assessor said,
Okay.
we should.
I'm asking the question because it was
Right,
brought
she's
up.
the expert. Unless she's the one that doesn't feel we're gonna be
I'm-
gaining.
I'm bringing it
Our
up
money.
because the question was asked. Anna?
No, I have more questions.
91 or 120? 94 or 120?
For me, either one, we need to get this moving forward.
Arnold? Still no. Okay. All right. I'm going to call for a vote. Roll call, I believe. Mr. Hyde?
I would have, yes on the 94.
This has it, I'm sorry, this
we're
started
gonna
for
have
so long ago. This is new to the floor. We did all that, yes?
Hold on.
Yeah, because
Because
we
we
had the
had the
conversation. Yes,
discussion. Okay, okay.
We had
Sorry.
conversation, yes.
Now, we'll specify this, what we're voting for. Are we voting on the 94,000? Okay.
Yes.
Then my vote is a yes on that.
No,
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Okay. I want to thank you all for your input and your patience. Guys, this is what local government is supposed to do.
Only,
Because it's a mail, what they're going to do is they're
Just
going to ask for
advise the
people
people
to
what's gonna
validate,
Yes.
yes.
and so that you know that
so if something's going on, keep the people advised of what's happening.
just, and so you know that we're doing it.
So we did the roll call, we had 3 yeses, 2 noes. Are we going ahead to,
Yes, we are.
the all in,
All right. Number 9, resolution for budget line transfers. Need a motion to bring this to the floor, please.
Motion, oh, sorry. Get going.
All right. Do we have any conversation or discussion about this resolution and the budget line transfers? No conversation, no discussion. Okay. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. All right. Authorization to proceed with paving for the new salt shed. Fred, just want to speak to this for a second or two, please. I'm not looking to take up more time. Just basically trying to get the floor so we got. Okay. All right. Need a motion to bring it to the floor, please.
So moved.
who's, okay, Colin, who would give them?
Paul and Arnold. Any conversation or discussion?
Yeah, I think it's good that we're doing this because this keeps the salt from leaching out into the surrounding environment too. This is something,
Okay.
salt is a terrible product as far as what it does to the environment. This is a good thing, sealing it up a little bit more.
Okay.
Fred, does this include around the sides as well?
There's concrete walls,
Okay.
from the inside to the 10 foot.
Okay, and is it a finish?
It'll be binder.
So it is a binder without a finish coat? Okay.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next is authorization to proceed for a purchase of a tow behind blower. Need a motion to bring this to the floor?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I see what our town is doing with cleaning the ditches this year, and I'm really pleased to see what's been going on, like on our local dirt roads. And this right here, when they're done, will make it easier as far as keeping our ditches clean. They spent quite a bit of time and money doing it. This will keep the sticks and the debris from building up and causing problems as far as further washouts. I know it's quite a bit of money, but I also did a little research in it myself and looked, and there's been, actually, it's fairly common in other parts of the country to do this. It's not so common around here, but it is a good idea. I am for it. I know it's a serious expense, but I think it will save us money and time in the long run.
All committees talked a little bit about this.
We did, in fact, that was part of the budget stuff that we went through. There was some question as to the need of this. But I really don't think that there is much real question as far as the function and how, in the end, what that will get us further ahead by doing it. It'll save us money in the long run. And that really is what it boils down to. Fred wants to get the one that doesn't require a loader or heavy equipment to move it, that's moved by a truck, which will cost a lot less to move it, which I think is wise also. It's controlled from in the truck. You have the ability to shut it off when you're around residences and so on. The thing's pretty cool. And I think it'd be a good investment for our town.
Is there other uses as well, or just ditch? Yeah. 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 Yeah, I looked him up today and geez, that'd take care of my yard.
Yeah, right.
How far out to get them? Is this the 2 to 4 week one out? Is that what you're?
I just happened to be going well yesterday, and then paving, instead of going on 8 and 29 on Spectator, take that shortcut, or repaving that, and I lost the camera. Then I was dressed with my IT and holding the behind blower, because they were grading the road, and like, man, they're gonna allow leaves in. The blower was ahead of them, and this thing blew from that wall to there, a clean bit, and allowed the guys to grade the road without putting all that sticks. That was pretty slick.
Yeah.
I've never seen it done before. That's what now, Lowell have one going back to the back. I prefer not to have one back. Something happens to that truck.
Any other conversation or questions? Call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Public resolution, set date for public hearing for preliminary budget is for November 7th, which is going to be at 6:30 before the board meeting. Obviously, the next board meeting,
November 6th.
I'm sorry, did I miss one?
No, it's the 7th.
It's the 7th. So Anna, because election day is
Oh,
the
that's,
5th.
well, no, I'm just saying that's
Right,
right.
yeah, that's changed. I
Okay.
told Gene it needs to change to the
Okay.
7th.
It's the 7th. Can I just
Yep.
indicate also that the preliminary budget was provided to each board member prior to the meeting?
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you. I just needed that for the minutes.
So 7.
yes, correct. 7,
November 7th at 6:30.
At 6:30.
Prior to the board meeting.
So we're
Yep.
only giving a half an hour for that?
It's not a workshop, it's just the public hearing.
you weren't here for the earlier conversation, so I'll fill you in a second, everybody in a second. Okay, all right. All right, so any other, yes, Arthur? Yes. Yes,
No,
we have,
it was just given to me late in the day, so.
yes, it will be up on the
Tomorrow
website
with the minutes
tomorrow.
and the resolutions, yeah.
All right. Did we bring it?
No.
Didn't, all right, motion to bring it to the floor, please. Motion.
Motion.
All right, any other conversation or discussion? Seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, this is a discussion. We don't have. Oh, we do have, okay. Occupancy tax. So right now, the board has $24,000 that we can use for specific projects. And I did run some things by board members. And I just want to have because obviously, folks, The five of us cannot meet unless we're in a public meeting. So that's why we're having this conversation here and now. And I want some thoughts as to how we might be able to use this money so that we can use it by the end of the year. And I know you've got a 24,000, yeah.
But we don't have to use it by the end.
No,
of
we
the year.
don't, but I mean,
Okay.
yeah, we've got it. It'd be
Like, you've
nice.
got it,
And that's after the money that's already been allocated to, lights on and to
Mhm.
Pete, so, okay.
Right. Correct.
So is this money that was put towards a board,
Yes, this is separate from,
separate from
From-
the committee?
yes, yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yes, there's money that goes to the committee and then money that actually is given to the board every year for whatever, however we might like to use it.
My preference is, Octax isn't, it's money that we have that's used to promote the area. Doling it out in little doses here and there is great and it's supportive and we get events. I know that I've talked with Bone once the lodge is complete about having and Kevin has had the same conversation about having an authentic Johnsburg Winter Carnival. In saving some Octax money to help make sure that it goes off the first year as a big success. You know, my thought, my vision is to do it Johnsburg style and have it as far as a whitewater, you know, themed winter carnival. So that there are raft races down the village slope and you know, get a group together that can work on this. And when there's expenses, we have Octax money that's set aside to, you know, have a larger event than a smaller event. So my preference would be to hold it in reserve. If that comes to fruition, and if not, there might be something else that comes down the road of a larger scale that we then have the funds to help support.
So I know the marketing committee has sort of had that conversation. So I think that goes in conjunction with that. Having done events, I think if we are gonna do that, I would only commit to the money if it was very well planned and we partnered with Orta in the sense of using their expertise in marketing and planning. Because while you do want to have that homegrown feel, it takes a lot of work to do this. And you want to be very strategic on who you bring on to those kind of projects. You plan a year out, talking with the Parks Department. So I love the idea in theory, and I say that cautiously, having done events, but I would really want to see a very strategic plan of how that something would work, because I agree, a bigger project, a bigger plan brings more people in, and I certainly like that idea, with the caveat of making sure it's
Right.
well structured so that it's not the same five people doing all the work
Right.
for a huge
Yeah.
event, and at the end, you know,
I'm not
Yeah.
ready to award this
yeah.
towards anything
Yeah.
right now.
But I
I'm
do like the idea of a
holding
bigger
it in
event.
reserve.
Yeah.
The other thing possibly would be to reach out to the community and ask for ideas. The more brains we put into this, the better. I'm open to having anybody approach me about this, any ideas, whether here or any other time.
And we do
Bring 'em
have
to the
new
board.
money coming in, remember, the new budget, so, yeah. So that might be a good brainstorming session.
Kelly?
Jackson must have been reading my mind. Same thought.
We've kicked that idea around, probably for a while now, and I just think, again, if, you know, I look at the stuff that goes on in Lake George and they need a lake to freeze. We don't need a lake to freeze. And we make our own snow.
Race the train?
And then they had
Race the
pole
train?
pedal-
Race the train?
And they had the pole, pedal, and paddle before that.
Sure.
Well, my take on that was that there's a lot of nonprofits in town that always need money. So that all nonprofits volunteer to put in their money and then divvy up the money among the nonprofits that is where it's. But because they get a hot tax, in big chunks, maybe we start with one, see if they can pledge to ourselves and do it for 3 years, 4 years to get it started and rolling. Then you got money to build it up. Two would be the goal.
I think part of the money would be well spent if we followed in suit with other Adirondack towns and we had some welcoming signs for our. The signs that we do have right now are rather weak, shall I say, but compared to Indian Lake, Long Lake, any of those towns, Newcomb, we sure could stand better looking signage.
And they're about
welcoming
12,000,
people.
and we have, if we bought one for each entrance and exit, which were both entrances, however you look at it, about $12,000 that would cost.
Well, we've had that conversation with marketing because
Because I got bids from Garnet Signs,
We also have the
So-
ARPA money.
and we have ARPA money for that too. So,
Oh,
And,
I said,
yeah.
well, and I think in our meeting with the marketing committee, what I said was, you drive up into Minerva and they had this beautiful wood sign with the shamrock, and I'm like, we could use something like that. It'd be kind of nice.
So Paul has bids for us, which I need to email to you guys. I am sorry about that. And that's, I think, about $1,000 for the nicest, highest end version of it.
Okay, Arthur?
Now projects, things like signs or set as well, but set aside some responses local opportunities right now, arguably, with your chunk for this idea. I guess regional houses pull up
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, I will.
what's the anticipated occupancy next year?
No, I think it's
Interesting.
actually going to be a little bit more.
I thought 93?
92, but we get,
I'm sorry, say that again, Arthur?
oh,
Yeah,
at least, yeah.
Yes, correct. Would have to be, you're looking at probably January of 26. Or February of 20. Again, you're looking, we would have, obviously, this would be one of those, if it's the size event that we've kind of kicked around, we would need a lot of people and a lot of help. I'd like to. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
And from outside too, that combination, yeah.
Hang on, Beth, 1 second. Amy? Yes.
Right, good idea. Outdoor thing.
Highlight our summer season in the winter.
Beth?
Wonderful community
Okay.
In OPEC, we use for like, I know we've done resident AC. Did we spend on that on open public?
It gets a little sticky, does it not? That's what I thought. Okay, it gets a little, Bruce, it gets a little sticky. Yeah,
Right, promotion.
Yeah, it's more promotion.
well, yeah,
If you made it like a celebration event, like maybe like, if you made it like a one-time
Right.
event kind of thing, then it could fall under it.
I strongly urge our leaders at one point to them to revert that. Because to be honest with you, our OPEC is not well done. I'm gonna say, I'm not real proud of this fellow, but I never hear it from most people. I would.
I've,
You can't, just, everybody's got a great idea. I don't mean to, nobody else. Everybody's got
Yeah, yeah.
make it, you know, well, the kids who ice skate for the next 40 years, I think that's real.
Yeah.
Church bells are.
someone, so,
all right, hang on, guys, okay,
So-
come on, I do want to, I would like to go home at some point tonight.
so the,
Please.
the Octex committee is done an incredible amount of work this year
This year is totally
in
different.
revamping, in creating a metrics, a scoring metrics, separate from the board so that it doesn't, there's no appearance of awarding. Some awards that happened in the past.
I'm not even saying that there's a difference. I just think
Yeah.
that you're not allowed to spend money on what I would think is good.
They looked at the guidelines,
I
that,
know it's all the guidelines, I'm not saying that.
yeah, so
The guidelines.
I just want to say that the Octex
so-
committee this year has done a lot of work.
All right,
All
okay,
right. So-
all right, discussion, Kelly, this is last one, this is it, all right? I want to do, I want to like to get on with,
One big thing, but town will be supposed to.
okay,
It's not using the
okay. Library director's report is in the packet.
Motion. with-
Motion to, need a motion to bring it to,
Motion.
all right,
No, okay.
all
never
right,
mind.
all right, so, and, do we have a second? Do we have a second? Okay, sorry, all right, good, accepted. All right. Motion to bring the supervisor's report to the floor.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? I know you do. Thank you. All right. All those in favor? Aye. Warrants. Any motion to bring the warrants to the floor?
So
Motion.
moved.
Second.
All right. Any conversation or questions?
No. Do we have committee reports?
That's going to be, yes, we're going to get to that right after this.
Okay.
All right. All right. All those in favor?
Sorry.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, Gene. I'm
Sorry, Gene.
trying to get you home for your dinner.
It's all good. I got it right here, my family life.
All right, let's do, there's a resolution to acknowledge changes between tentative and preliminary budget. Do you have, it's in your, it's over there and it's in
Oh,
your
yes.
stuff. Okay, all right,
Right here.
all right. I need a motion to bring this to the floor.
Motion.
Okay, so, there have been some changes. Those changes will be up on the website. And remember, this is a preliminary budget. It is not the adopted budget. We will have a budget workshop on November 7th where people can weigh in, November 7th, right?
The workshop is
Oh, I'm
on
sorry,
November-
I'm sorry, not workshop. Public hearing, my apologies. That's public hearing, November 7th, 6:30.
Seven.
Seven.
It's been changed.
It's it's always 2 days after Election Day. Yeah, I know, okay, all right. I need a motion to bring this to the floor, please.
Motion.
Second.
Any conversation or discussion?
Well, should we talk about the things that we did not vote for, that we did not agree with? on this?
Yes, we should.
Okay, so I am against the fire fund being decreased. I would like to see that reinstated to 2%. I am against the EMS fund being decreased. I'd like to see that increased to 2%. Did we have the 3%? Is that back in there?
Mhm.
With the clerk? Okay. Okay,
Except for me.
okay. But I think we wanted to put,
I don't care, Anna. We can work on that during.
okay, but I
what-
want to say that we
I-
had that conversation.
I know, and we
Okay.
can have that conversation before we adopt the permanent budget.
Okay, because we had that,
Mhm.
okay, so we had
Yep.
talked about the board taking 5% decrease and giving a 3% increase to clerk, highway superintendent, and the,
Let me reiterate.
okay, I'm
This
just saying
isn't-
that,
I
yeah.
know, I know. Anybody else got anything to weigh in on?
Yeah, I was gonna ask how we picked the number of 40,000 for what we're setting aside for pit closure. We had discussed that. and I
We
don't know where
keep
that-
going, I mean, Fred, this has been, the 80,000 has been in the budget for how long now? It
Right.
just
I
seems
know we were agreed to reduce it, but where did we come up with it?
5 years? Okay, and so it seems like we keep moving 80 and keep moving 80 and keep moving 80 and keep moving 80, and we're not anywhere near closing the pit. So it just seems to
Okay, very
be
good. All right.
a little bit foolish, in my opinion, to just keep moving 80 and keep moving 80.
Okay, I understand where it came from now. You talked
Okay.
to Danae about it. All right, that's fine. I just wondered where the number came from. All right.
You see anything else on highway?
Dude.
This is a resolution to make some changes for the tentative to the preliminary budget. There'll be a budget hearing, in which case we can hash all of this
Out.
out at a budget
The fine,
hearing.
the finer
This
details.
isn't meant to be a budget hearing, is that correct?
That is correct. Budget work or budget hearing on November 7th. The other thing I want to make clear to everybody is, Gene, where did I get some of? November 13th, okay? November 13th. I want to make this public now. We are going to have one final budget workshop where people can weigh in and and have their voices heard before our final budget is adopted.
What
Okay?
time would that be?
I'm gonna say 6 o'clock. Okay,
It will have to be noticed, obviously.
Yes.
In the newspapers, but I will have it on, the town website as to where it will be. I'll need to see with everything going on here at Tannery Town, if it's gonna be here in the meeting room, but that will be put out there as well.
all right. So this has been moved to the floor, has it not?
Yes.
All right, I need to bring this any further discussion. Seeing none, I call for a vote. All those, do we need a roll call? Or can we just vote it and make the changes and
It's a
discuss?
resolution, we can just go ahead and.
Say the all-
all in favor.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Before we go into executive session, I think what we'll do is we will do our committee reports. Oh, shoot, I've got one more too. God dang it. Where's that one? Isn't there one more in here?
Nope, I don't have any more.
The truck, right? Did we have, I thought I had a resolution for a resolution for the truck. Ah, crap. God,
I don't have one.
shit. Is it,
Yeah, I didn't get.
I don't have one.
Committee reports.
all right,
Speak
committee,
about it. What do we got?
committee reports.
We
Mr.
met-
Hyde,
The highway committee actually met, and basically what we did was meet to hash out the budget issues and had Fred explain to us what the position the highway department was for needing various equipment. Fred has also started putting together, if you will, a spreadsheet a data sheet of all of our equipment as far as cost, repairs, mileage, time, et cetera. So we have a real good background as far as equipment life and predicting the need for new equipment. he's pretty much had the data all along. All he's doing is now is putting it into a more digestible format for us to be able to look at as a board and for the public to see. It gives us a whole lot better idea what's going on with the town highway as far as down the road to look at it. It's something I think that, and I told Fred, count on cooperation from the board as necessary to do this as far as whatever he needs to put it in an Excel spreadsheet format. We will make sure to help him do that. It benefits us all. We're planning on another meeting here fairly shortly. And at that point, we'll discuss other highway items, but the main thing we wanted to do is settle budget items and look at a few purchases, the blower, and looking at another tandem truck to replace one of the problem trucks that's eating money at this point. The time cycle works out because we're starting with a new truck right now, but what that boils down to is, in order to keep them current for a while, we're gonna have to purchase a truck every few years probably. We're gonna have a bond gonna be terminating here shortly, and we'll probably go back out for a bond to keep things level, so we do not have to go for big purchases all at once. It can be spread out. Fred has also presented kind of a wish list of equipment that he's looking at for years to come, and we can use that also as far as figuring where we're gonna have to go and what we're gonna need for monies. I'm sure we're gonna get further with the highway committee meeting, but this was a good start. We went away, actually, it was a lot more productive than I anticipated, and I was really glad how it went. It was a good job for everybody, and I look forward to doing it again. That really is the only committee report I have at this point. I haven't done much else as far as like the safety committee or anything. I've been kind of swamped with my personal life and personal business, but that's pretty much what I have.
Ms. Bowers.
Occupancy tax, they are scoring their, what came in, and we will have everything, the recommendations will be at the board for the November 5th meeting. I'm also gonna recommend that we look at, to Bruce's point, some of the language that we have about them making presentations and all that sort of stuff, we're not necessarily doing all of it. So looking at that, seeing if we need to rewrite any of that, and then bringing it to the board for a resolution. If we want to keep it in there, that's great, but if we're not doing that, it's a great time to look at it, because we're going to have this sort of breather between now and May when the new applications come in, and sort of refresh that, see what we can do with it. But November 5th, we will have the recommendations for the board for us to vote on. We only had 6 come in this time. So, yes,
Applications
we
for?
only had 6 applications, but we had 2 very big ones, so it'll be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be
Wow.
interesting.
6, that's
Yes.
okay. All right. Right now, there's enough on my plate. Tim, do you wanna?
Yeah. Parks report, I met with a bike promoter with Upper Hudson Trail Alliance. Pete is confirming that there's no conflict with the date, but they're looking to do a mountain bike race at Ski Bowl Park tentatively on August 9th. That's after Waynestock. And that fits into the bike racing calendar well. Anticipating about 150 racers. We've roughed out a course on our town park trails so that it doesn't cross any of the roads. There might be a little, depending on what they settle on a course, there might be a little section down by the dog park where we have to kind of have part of that road closed before they can shoot back up into the trail network. But it will avoid dump road, so there'll be no conflict there. So we're looking to just firm up that date. Pete's, got to check on things. And once we have that, we'll firm it up and they can start all the work on getting that organized and together. Sewer, it's out to bid. Thursday, the 17th, there is a question and answer with the engineers for any contractors that are interested. And then a walkthrough. So again, those bids will be due on October 29th, and fingers crossed they come in good and competitively.
Scale?
Can I ask?
Scale, yeah.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
So thrilled because my father was on the first,
Yeah.
first way back when I think they used to meet at the old yurt. So that this is actually happening is beyond exciting. Um, have there been any discussions about concerns about the bids coming in higher than anticipated because of obviously the passage of time that has happened from start to now? And in that conversation, have there been any talks with ORDA or the state about like what will happen if the bids are higher than what we can cover as a town? Like, is there any partnerships or assistance with the state or ORDA that would be there if it's more than we feel like we can swallow?
Okay.
Just because there's such a,
Yes,
a
so,
time that has
all right,
passed.
so in conversations with Jeff Conis is obviously in the construction biz. According to him, there are many contractors in the Capital District that under normal circumstances wouldn't bid on anything less than $15 million that are currently bidding on $1 and $2 million projects,
Okay.
which makes that kind of interesting. Number two is I have been on and off the phone with the governor's rep, and at one point we talked about this, and he said, and I told him there may be a time when I need to pick up the phone and you need to work some of your magic with the governor to if this comes in higher than what we're expecting. So yes,
So, okay.
one contractor's anecdotal view of how things are in Capital District. Two, I have a conversation
Okay.
with the governor's rep. Yes.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and to that, you know, I had a conversation with Brian on Friday, the engineer, and 15 companies, individuals picked up plans
That's great.
to go through it. The one thing he did do, the bid is broken up into 4 different parts.
Sure.
And he's gonna break that up to a 5th part, which is just the processing
Oh,
plant,
Okay.
in hopes of, you know, making sure that we get competitive bids. So fingers crossed.
Mr. Stevens.
Kevin, Danae, and myself met with Cedarwood for the water committee, and we are working with Cedarwood at the present time to help evaluate what some of the water rate schedules may be. So that's an ongoing project. And also Kevin and I have had some very preliminary discussions about the possibility of the formation of a committee for seniors, for what some of the benefits what we may be able to offer to the seniors, and what is already presently being offered to the seniors. So that may be a committee that is looking to be formed
Yes.
in the near future. Did I get that right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
sir, you did. Thank you. All right, executive session, I have to read this. To discuss the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal, or a particular person or corporation, and to discuss proposed pending or current litigation, the proposed acquisition, sale, or lease of real property, or the proposed acquisition of securities, sale or exchange of securities held by such public body, but only when the publicity would substantially affect the value thereof. We'll be back. Oh, I'm sorry, my apologies. Yes, we need a motion to
Motion.
go into executive session. Thank you.
And
Dear God.
Who was the first, Jim?
Anna was first, Paul was second, so moved.
Okay.
All right. Try to get this. I can't, yeah, the only thing, oh, you guys didn't.
Thanks, Fred. I wasn't sure and I didn't want to.
I didn't get a resolution. Did I miss something?
I thought Danae had thrown one in my, a floor resolution, and
Yeah, I didn't see any.
All right.
Come into out of executive session, and I do this, or I do this before.
No, I do, adjourn executive session at 9:04. Can I get,
Yeah, motion to come out of executive session.
Motion.
Second.
Second,
third, fourth,
third, fourth, sixth.
bring it on.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And then whatever was discussed or agreed upon in executive session.
Got it? I'll grab this later.
No, I got it. I just need to know who,
Can I do it now, or can I do it after you right now? No. Okay, I just figure I can, I know what the vote got, okay?
I am so fine with that.
All right. So, privilege of the floor. Who's up? Ms. Kelly?
No, we need to,
I'm sorry.
Come into
Back to regular
session.
meeting.
yep,
Oh, sorry,
To
motion.
return to board meeting.
Motion.
Second.
thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Well,
Well, my job, I'll leave.
No,
You
just
sure?
Get it done quicker.
team effort. Team effort.
I'll get out of here if you
Sorry,
can have it.
It's the teacher and firstborn child in me. I can't help myself.
Okay, we all squared away, guys?
Yes.
All right, I've got two comments to make. One, both of them concern, sort of, the budget hearing that I missed last week because I was out of town. First, I'd like to suggest that this town board find a way to make town board meetings more accessible to all the community. These meetings are not able to be heard, not just by me, but by many, either in person or afterwards on YouTube. I'm not sure if people listening remotely can hear or not, but I would think probably not. Here are two separate suggestions. Move the meetings back into the smaller room where they used to be held. That room will hold up to 35 to 45 people. Now that the uproar over the last reval seems to have died down, at most meetings, the in-person attendance has dwindled considerably. That room is small enough so people can be heard by all those in attendance and online, and I imagine that translates well on YouTube also. Or buy a speaker system or components that are worthy of us all. Each one of the board members should wear a body mic so the audience can hear their comments. Furthermore, buy several separate handheld mics that can be passed to those in the audience who have something to say and want to be heard. Right now, it's a joke trying to hear, and it's not just my hearing. I've been tested and I'm okay. But it just feels like if somebody there talks to you, people behind you can't hear them, etc. And then I went on YouTube to try to catch up from last week, and I couldn't hear anybody. I could see people talking, I could hear a few words, just enough, but I really had to work at it. And that's really doesn't seem like a good system. I looked online, the equipment is not very expensive. You could probably do everything you need to do for less than $800. Okay, my second comment. The little part that I did hear, I was at the beginning of the YouTube thing. There was a discussion about raising the salaries for the clerk and the highway department supervisor. what you call it?
Superintendent.
The suggestion I heard was a 3% raise. Let me assure you, I am not opposed to paying our town officials more money, as I think all have been grossly underpaid for decades. But I was very surprised to learn that there was quite a number of questions raised about a 2% increase in the contract between the town and the Johnsburg EMS. I understand that a 2% increase amounts to $8,600, an amount which covers a 24-cent increase in pay to our EMTs, who earn $19 an hour, to do the emergency medical work for our residents and visitors in the town. How many of you realize that to raise $8,600 will cost each taxpayer 1.5 cents per thousand? In my case, it would cost me $4.50 total to raise the salary of the trained EMTs who serve this community. Without EMTs, we do not have the drivers of the ambulances. Without EMTs, we do not have the extra off-duty personnel to transport patients from GFH back to Elderwood or out to Syracuse for special care there. Without EMTs, we do not have the extra set of knowledgeable hands that assist the paramedics in life-saving situations. Does the community really want to make it hard for us to retain EMTs when they can go to work their 36-hour shifts in North Warren or in Lake George or in Hadley, Luzerne for a mere $0.50 per thousand? Does that make sense? I don't think so. I have watched this community not make headway for 50 years because the town boards were too timid to raise taxes. Scared to death the community would rise up and run them out of town. Of course, it took a reval and a lot of hotheads to make that happen. But the sad thing is that no community makes headway, keeps itself afloat without raising taxes. The board's job is to make wise and responsible choices that advance the town, not drag it backward. Cutting out raises that are under the inflation rate not only undermines the affected workers' local spending, it also undermines the viability of a very necessary local service. It seems to me that budget committee members who nickel and dime every budget decision are not acting wisely and responsibly. Thank you.
Arthur?
Thank you. I'm Arthur Webb. I'm a town resident and a member of the JES board. I'm following up on Kelly as well. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to the town board for holding a workshop last week, as well as trying to be as open as possible. I would suggest, though, that what's missing last week, maybe even today's discussion, there's no overview of what this budget really does. At the end of the day, how does this community benefit from the decisions we're making on the budget? How does this prepare ourselves for 2026 and 27? So the conversation today on reval is a good example of that in my mind, that there was not the complete information to understand what the value is of bringing in a firm. Now I'm just going to speak to being a board member. I think we can agree that JES does deliver quality and responsive services. This should be our starting point. The town supported JES in 2024 to help professionalize its services. Just look at close to 600 calls JES responds to. We will see JES responds to life-threatening and life-protecting emergencies in a quality way. I'm recently appointed a board member in 2024, and based on years of experience in healthcare, delivery, and policy, including overseeing EMS services, I'm very impressed with the effectiveness and efficiency of JES as a business, which is a not-for-profit entity. This community is fortunate to have persons like Joe Connolly and Kevin Fusco in leadership and service roles. I'm quite frustrated and continue to be disappointed by the discussion of EMS at the recent workshop. Despite the extensive sharing of information over the last several months, plus the lengthy meeting and a deep dive into the finances on August 23rd, there was still questioning at the workshop on the very topics that we thought we discussed and agreed to. We all left the meeting in August with the understanding that a 2% increase would be recommended, which was later confirmed by the town supervisor in an email to Joe, that the 2% would be included in the 2025 budget. So it's still a question why that was still an issue. If there were issues, they should have been discussed and raised prior to the workshop. Yes, there was a request for a meeting, but that was just a few days before the workshop. So the budget process seems to be out of kilter and perhaps distorted. What's the point of all of this? $8,600. I'm not going to repeat what Kelly just talked about. Unfortunately, Joe was called to an emergency we heard about later in the afternoon or later that night. After 3 hours, I give the board an endurance award for willing to stay there for 3 hours. As Joe stated in an email on October 8th, he sent to some of the board members, he couldn't believe it when he heard about the budget workshop, that some of the town board members in the appointing budget committee were asking the same questions we thought we discussed in previous meetings. We've not received any questions since the August 23rd, except for the meeting that's been proposed. Of course, the town board has the right to ask any and all questions to better understand what our taxes are covering. Totally agree with that. On the other hand, when questioning seems to be not grounded on facts, it leaves a negative impression to the community and to the public. This is not helpful in building support for the town budget. We stand ready to engage in thoughtful discussion. It is important that our town citizens become more aware of the work of JES. The town budget process is one way, and we thank you for that, but we sense there is a need for a broader communication with our community. So thank you. Again, I have a written statement as well.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd just like to respond to both comments. I hope in a budget workshop, when we sit here with a fiduciary responsibility to our citizens, and as you said, Arthur, like, where is the money going? That questions aren't interpreted as a lack of support. I want no one else other than Joe Conley to show up at my door if I ever have to call 911. As I sit here as a board member and I see a request on a budget for a 2% increase, and I don't have a Johnsburg budget for 2025 in front of me, showing me why there needs to be an increase, I have to act in my role as a board member and say, wait a minute, I need to see justification for that expense. Before the budget workshop, I was given the Johnsburg Emergency Squad 2024 budget, but that isn't for 2025, which the request was made for. Don't interpret questioning as a lack of support. The same with our fire protection contract. Our fire protection, we have 2 fire companies that have been asked multiple times and haven't given a certificate of insurance protecting the town. They want more money, but haven't given us a budget as to justifying that increase. I have a role to the person sitting on a fixed income whose taxes keep going up to be able to assure them that there is a need for those requests. That's it. That's all. That doesn't mean I don't support fire protection. That doesn't mean I don't support EMS. There's contracts that are here and they need to be followed. We need to be able to review to make sure that our taxpayer money is being spent in a manner and that the justification for the increase is there. Currently, nowhere in front of me do I have a justification for that increase for Johnsburg EMS or for those fire companies. So holding it at a 2024 rate until that justification comes in, I believe is the right move.
That's on me, Joe. I thought I had it. I went digging for it and I thought I had the budget. I'm just telling you, I went digging for it. I thought I had it. I don't. I'm sorry. What I said was, is that as far as I was concerned, we would give you a 2% increase. And I told Anna last time around in the budget, I'm one vote. Remember, this is a board, Monday through Friday, I'm the chief operating officer. When it comes to board meeting days, I'm a vote, one. Guys, I looked at, when I started looking, I could not find the 2025 budget.
I think the issue that I saw at the budget committee workshop, full disclosure, Joe Connolly is my husband, just want to say that. The issue that I saw was that there weren't questions being asked. I saw Patrick Hughes, who was a non-elected official, tell Arthur Webb, nope, 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 and just talk over Arthur Webb. And nobody say anything until, thank goodness, you said, are you going to do anything to you? And that was actually my issue, is that somebody who was a non-elected official who has no votes in this was telling Arthur Webb, nope, you didn't give us what we wanted. You didn't give us what you wanted. And I thought that was so inappropriate. No questions were being asked.
Okay.
No questions were being asked. And that is recorded.
Yep. Yes.
More than a little great kind of communication, to be honest, in terms of sharing information. Because if you go back and look at the emails, virtually every budget, finance, revenue, all of that has been provided to the supervisor. It's just, it may not have gotten to you at the right time, so there's breakdown communication. But we need to, I tell you a little bit about the budget process. It seems like we got squeezed against the wall.
Mhm.
That the process couldn't keep up with itself. You know, digesting information, providing it, having a dialogue.
Did-
So when you had a August 23rd, then two days before the budget, or 2 days before the budget workshop, you had another question. There's a lot of time in between, so it's
Mhm.
next year to process that.
Oh, guys, please understand something, that I said this yesterday at the budget workshop, that knowing what I know now, I would have done things completely different. But hindsight's no sight. Hindsight's no sight, and then if you recall what I said, I mean, one of the things that I promised that will happen before I leave is that people will have an outline, so that when the next supervisor comes in, whether it's I get another term or not, doesn't matter. It will be outlined as to the time, the dates, as far as month by month, what people need to be looking for. I walked into this, and like I said, knowing what I know now, I would have approached this completely different. And I think, I mean, I've heard some fairly positive commentary. Was it a marathon session? Yeah, it was. Was I exhausted? Yeah, I was. By the time we got to the end of the meeting, my brain was pretty much a jar of mayonnaise.
But you went through it line by line.
Right.
You did.
So again, it's learn from experience. This is a unique position. Being the supervisor is unique. Yeah, guys, understand. Please understand. I will take responsibility when I make a mistake. No, I mean, I will raise my hand and say it's on me. I do not point the finger at other people. Yeah, I would rather take, I'll take the heat for it. But
I
under,
said, let's meet.
oh, let's meet,
Oh,
I'm
I
sorry.
thought he
meet.
said
I s-
that's heat.
No,
I'm-
let's meet.
Well, your hearing is
I
as shitty as
can't-
mine.
I,
Hearing's as
I
shitty
can't
as mine.
see,
What's
I'm
that?
cold,
We need microphones and I
can't
need hearing
hear, I'm
aids.
cold and I can't see.
All right, Kelly, yes.
And that is that it always seems to me to be very weird not to plan on building a budget starting at the increase in inflation for the year. For several years, we've had inflation that's run 2.8,
Mhm.
2.9, whatever, or 1.9, varying around there. It seems to me that we have to start there, otherwise you're just going backwards.
So if I may, okay, I will tell you that the one sigh of relief that I breathe, thank you.
Now we
Um,
can't talk.
Yeah, I can't talk. Was when I read Danae's email when I was in Georgia and she said, I plugged the numbers in and we're at the tax cap. Because honest to God, I was as nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof. When she said we're actually in better shape than I thought we were, I'm like, thank God. But again, guys, this is new and I'm running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I could use an extra set of hands. It isn't for lack of want. It's a lack of time.
Gene had a comment.
I'm sorry, yeah, Gene, my,
As a volunteer fireman for almost 30 years, it's always been the practice in the past for all of the chiefs of the fire departments to meet with the town board. No one reached out to meet with them. There is a monthly town chief and officers meeting.
Yep.
That one of our board members, Anna, was kind enough to attend just to get an idea of what was going on. In my understanding, there's also the EMS fire committee that was supposed to have reached out to the fire departments as well. So in the defense, I'm the secretary treasurer, so I get the information that needs to be, whether I was the town clerk or not. The town has always gotten our information, and I know there's a couple that don't. And unfortunately, that's gonna reflect on those of us that do, and it's very unfortunate. Just as a quick example to the public, a new set of turnout gear right now is averaging $3,000 to $5,000. That's just for one individual to get new turnout gear, and it has to be maintained in compliance, or they can't even take training anymore. If your gear is out of compliance, you can't take state mandated training. So, while we appreciate everything that we do get from the town, from a fire department perspective, every little bit does help. So, and understanding not everyone is giving you all the information, and bad on them. If they want to continue to get increases, however much it may be, it's very helpful. And I'm sorry, in addition, there are other fire departments that have additional income from a post office or this or that or something else. Yep, just a second, Bruce. So they have that additional income. Not all of the fire departments have that additional income. So thank you for listening.
Thanks for sharing.
Bruce.
Okay.
Well, and I have actually have had a couple of conversations with other chiefs about sitting down with them.
It's partially on me also, because I initially, actually a couple of times tried to arrange things, but time wasn't good for other people and I never got to follow up and get it done. But yeah, you are correct. That should be done as far as sitting down with the chiefs. And I'm hoping that maybe for the next budget thing, we can get a few of them to do that too.
Do we have anybody else for privilege of the floor? Yes, Beth. Dr. Marr.
My name is Beth Marr. I live in North River, and I am a volunteer member of the Emergency Readiness. And I'm going to say committee, but we're not really officially a committee. It's all a little loosey-goosey. And I just want to announce now that on the second Tuesday of every month, from 5 to 6 p.m., there's going to be a meeting, hopefully by Zoom, so as many people can participate as can be. But it really needs to be funneling not from volunteers as much as from the town and members of the town board. Particularly in terms of finding a command center from which the rest of the plan will come from. There's lots of steps. It's going to take a long time, I think, to fill up the SEMP that I know Kevin and Paul have received. And that the paperwork involved with that, I'm hoping to get support from the town somehow. But mark it on the calendars. And if we could get the Zoom support from the town to get that out there, that'd be great.
I don't know if we've got Zoom anymore, Beth.
We don't have Zoom
I didn't think
No.
so. So part of what Kelly's comment is this is, the YouTube stuff is new to us. And it's a new technology, but it's new to us.
Beth, I have an account that's like unlimited from North Creek Business Alliance, so you could use my account if you wanted to. Yeah. Yeah.
Just don't.
Yeah, you can
Hang
use
on.
my account. Yeah.
I know, I just said that the YouTube, although it's not a new technology, it's new for us. And so we're obviously working kinks out. So that's what we're up against. The governor, pretty much, if I understand correctly, said no more Zoom.
Right.
Yes,
To encourage people back to live audience meetings.
Yeah.
with town board.
correct.
And that's why YouTube it's happening live, but it's also recorded so you can show it later, but this is happening in real time.
Yep.
Kevin?
Yes.
Right. I think it's gonna be the second time in the town meeting when I agree with Kelly, so I may want some documents. But
Looking
anyway,
for some
I
counsel?
missed a couple meetings and I tried to, you can't hear a thing.
Okay.
I gave
Got
up in a minute. I could hear Kevin once in a while. I know when I came to the Tannery Pond meeting, when Tannery Pond community was taking over and they were talking, it was a horrible night that night. They were trying to Zoom and it didn't work for them. And we talked that night a little briefly about looking for a grant. Maybe the town and Tannery Pond can get together because equipment stays here and apply for something that would work.
Good point.
Michael?
I'm sorry, Michael, yeah.
Michael, and we will
Thank you.
project.
I think this is only what the third meeting that
Please,
we've used
please,
it at, so yeah,
please.
we're still working on it.
Please. Okay.
On the budget, could we order a proper stand for that sign?
Sure.
Yes, ma'am. Watch out for the prime van.
Anybody else? All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Well, we went till 9:30.
Town business. Town business.